Welcome back everybody to the daily show where we discuss and do technical analysis for big mega cap stocks. So show your support by hitting that thumbs up button, and that is greatly appreciated. And if you're new here, consider subscribing, and that means a lot to me. And if you want to support the channel and get my daily trade ideas, my swing trade ideas, and 3 days of live trading, check out the Patreon, and that link will be down below in the description. And now let's get right into it. Netflix down on the day Friday 0.5%, and again holding 564 right here as a support into closing. So we got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th, 6th day. This thing actually trading above 564 and holding. That means one thing, as long as next week Netflix can hold right here at 564, we could see a mega pump all the way up to this high close to 580, and who knows, maybe even this high that is coming 588. And I said it before also that this thing can go up to 600. But watch this support right down here, 564, and now we do have support down here. At least these moving averages now are going up, and the 13-day moving average now sitting at 534, and then we also have strong support at 528. But I don't think this thing will drop that easily down to this support right here. I mean, you might get a dip where this thing gets down to like look below and fail. We might see a dip down to, I would say, 550, and that is it. We could see explosion to the upside on Netflix after this consolidation last week. With some earnings, this thing can go all the way up to 190 plus. So that is going to actually play out tomorrow night. I mean, Apple, it's gonna be make it or break it. And last few earnings from Apple, they were not good. So I'm expecting, at least maybe we get something here on Apple where this thing actually drops and I can really buy it cheap, maybe under 180. That would be great. So I'm not really looking to, have a big beat on earnings on Apple, because whenever you see that, usually you see a massive gap up, and then this thing will just run and run, just like Microsoft. And Microsoft also hitting a fresh new all-time high today. And as a retail trader, investor, I don't want things to go higher because I can't buy it. And a lot of people out there, they try to buy things right here on top, and then what happens, we all know, just holding a bag. You need to buy low and sell high. So, maybe tomorrow night we get a nice juicy dip on Apple. If things can open here, maybe 180 or below, definitely buying that dip on Apple stock. And here's my X account, and if you're on there, definitely give me a follow. And I do not have any subscription that you gotta go through on X. It's totally free. Now, you guys saw that video just before earnings, and what I say in my video, I do it in real life. Right here you can see Apple, and that was Thursday, right after earnings, 5:14 p.m. Apple was trading at 182, 181, and that is where I actually got 100 shares. And this morning it was trading at 187 almost, sold for a nice profit, just holding overnight. And not only that, I did play Apple calls this morning, and they were only $1.10 a piece, 180 calls. And guess what? They ran up to $6 a piece. Well, I never got, $6 a piece, but actually ran up to $4 a piece. So almost 300% on those calls here on Apple. And look at this one here, Airbnb, that we got in the morning, 9:36 a.m. And you can match with the time. It was trading at 142 and 141, right in between. And that is where I got those calls. 145 exploded, guys. I mean, this thing got up to 148. These calls, they went through the roof, especially same day expiration. You can see it right here. So all these trade ideas are available on Patreon, and especially if you want to support the channel, check it out, and that link will be down below in the description. On Apple, stock is down 0.5%, and you guys saw that video. That was massive. catching that dip right here, buying shares, and not only that, playing calls also right here on Friday morning, and they were only $1.10 a piece. Exploded, guys. I got up to $4 a piece, and then they were going for over $6 a piece. This thing from 179 got up to 187 in just one day. So going into next week, now it's holding 185 as a support into closing. That's going to be a key level to watch. And then 183, 180 to the upside. Now Apple stock actually needs to break 188. We got this gap right below 188. So I would say 188 can break on Apple. You're going to see a move back up to 190. And that is where this thing can run just like Microsoft. Apple can break 188 and also can take out 190. Watch out, you're going to see another huge explosion on Apple back up to 195 to even 198. On Meta, it's up over 20%, and we saw a massive explosion on Meta that took Meta all the way up to 485.96, and then we saw a bit of a pullback on Friday, nothing big. And going into Monday, guys, yes, we could see a mini pullback here on Meta. And where this thing can come down to, 470 will be a key level to watch, and below that, this low down here, 452. And if this thing actually gets a really hard pullback, then watch out for upper Bollinger Band, which is rising 436 to 437. I don't think we're going to see a move all the way down here, but I would think that this thing is getting really overbought, maybe a tiny pullback. But with the buybacks, it's really hard to call a pullback on something like this. Again, they did it before, $50 billion buyback. Again, doing the same thing, and that means one thing: any dip on Meta will get bought up. And then you're going to see not only this high right here, 485.96. I think this thing can go up above and beyond, which is over 500, but I would not be chasing here. If there is a pullback, yes, I can play, but definitely not chasing this rally all the way up here. So going into next week, 470, 452, and to the upside, the next stop, 490, and then 500. On AMD, it's up 4.21% on Friday, and we gapped up again from 171.14 and ran all the way up to 179, and now trading at 177. So going into next week, as a support, you want to watch 178 and then 5-day moving average right down here, 173 to 174 right here, and then this gap, 171.14. To the upside, AMD can hold anywhere from, I would say, 173 to 174. We could see a move all the way up to 184 on AMD and possibly another fresh new all-time high, and that would be 190. On Amazon stock, it's up 7.87% with massive beat on earnings. This thing gapped up from 159.76 and got up to almost 173. So going into next week on Monday, and you can see right here also, and I gave you guys this level before the earnings, 167. Now that this thing is trading above 167, look at what happened on Friday. Low for the day, 167. And this thing was holding right here, went back up, and now trading close to 172. So this is gonna be your line in the sand here on Amazon Monday morning. 167, 165, 162, and then this gap just under 160. To the upside, as long as Amazon can hold right here 167, watch out for a move back up to 173. And once we get that breakout above 173, Amazon can push all the way up to 180. On Google stock, it's up 0.58%, and Google came under 140. And look at this dip buying on high volume Friday, and this thing went right back up. So that is what over $5-6 move here on Google from 138 up to 143, almost 144. So anybody caught this move, and I called it before in my video that if you want to get Google, that would be right here, 140 or below. And if you actually caught this move on Friday, you made really good money on Google stock, and there might be more to it. Now going into Monday, Key support to watch right here, 50-day moving average 140.84, 140. As long as Google can hold right here, you're going to see a move up to 145, and once we get that breakout, Google can also retest 20-day moving average, white line 146, and then watch out for a move all the way up to 148. On Tesla, stock is down 0.5%, so Tesla went down to 182, not touching 180, and then this thing came back up and now trading below 190, below 5-day moving average. So going into next week on Monday, we need that breakout on Tesla over 190, and only if that happens, you're going to see a move up to 194, and that is that key level that I'm watching above 194. This thing can push up to 200. And once we get up to 200, easily Tesla can push up to this gap 206.77. To the downside, strong support down here at 180. But if that gives up, look at this lower Bollinger Band pointing down. This thing can come down all the way down to 171 and possibly down to that gap at 162. On Microsoft, it's up 1.84% and not hitting another fresh new all-time high. But looks like we might be going higher on Microsoft. And why? Because we got a bullish engulfing candle, and looks like this thing can push again going into next week. So here on Microsoft, and I don't know if you guys noticed, Microsoft actually now trading at $3.06 trillion market cap, more than Apple. So that is just crazy right now what's happening here in this market, and this thing can push even higher. So going into next week, here on Microsoft, 410 will be a support to watch, and below that, 5-day moving average 406, and then right down here, 13-day moving average, and that is sitting close to 402 and then 400. Below 400, watch out for right down here 394, and then this gap 390. But if this thing actually pushes next week, watch out for the resistance right here at 413, 415.32, and then all the way up to 420. This thing can go early as next week. On Nvidia stock, it's up almost 5%, and in my last video and the ones I made before, I gave you guys a hint what's happening here on Nvidia, that this Bollinger Band on top expanding rapidly, and the last time we saw that in my last video, it was right up here 665, and I said it in my video, this thing can go all the way up to 665. And look at this, what happened here on Friday with the big earnings from Meta and Amazon. This thing also gapped up and now got up to 666 and now trading at 661.60. So are we going to see a pullback here on Nvidia? Well, nobody knows. And if there is a pullback, what to look for? Definitely now, this is gonna be a key zone to watch right here, this gap, and also previous all-time highs 634 down to 632, this gap. That is gonna be a strong support to watch on a pullback. But if this thing actually pushes, guess what? The next stop, you already know, 700 here on Nvidia, and that is just insane how quickly from 392 not too long ago, this thing now trading at almost 700, guys. So watch out here on Nvidia going into next week. This thing definitely can run again, and if it runs, the next stop 700, unless we get a pullback down to this gap 632. So thank you so much for watching and have a great weekend, everybody.